You ever have one of those mornings where you swear the universe is whispering at you? That was me about a year ago. I woke up next to my wife. The sun was bleeding through the curtains, and I had this eerie, heavy feeling in my chest. Nothing concrete, just a tension I couldn't name. At that point, our marriage looked fine from the outside. Stable jobs, nice house, a circle of friends who thought we were the couple that made it. But I'll be honest, I'd already noticed the cracks. Subtle ones. She was going to bed later than me, clutching her phone like it was oxygen. I told myself it was stress from work, or maybe she just needed space. I didn't want to be the paranoid husband, so I swallowed it. That morning, though, something shifted. I rolled over and realized she wasn't there. The bathroom light was on, faintly humming. I grabbed my phone, opened it out of habit, and there it was, an unread notification that didn't belong to me. Her phone, sitting right there on the nightstand, lit up with a preview I wasn't supposed to see. I should have looked away. I didn't. And that was the moment the first of my morning secrets was revealed. Not the kind you find in a self-help book, but the kind that burns your life down before you even sip your coffee. It wasn't even a long message, just a tiny fragment of a conversation. A name I didn't recognize and a line that read, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait for the next time." My stomach dropped so hard I thought I was going to puke right there. You know that moment where the blood drains from your face and your ears start ringing? Yeah, that. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. I froze, staring at that screen like maybe if I blinked enough times it would disappear. Maybe I was misreading it. Maybe it was some inside joke. My brain was working overtime to make excuses because the alternative, her cheating, was too damn painful to process. Then I heard the bathroom door click. She stepped out, hair still damp, humming to herself like it was any other morning. And I just sat there, holding her phone, my heart pounding so hard it felt like the walls were shaking. That was when I realized secret number 2. Mornings reveal the truth, whether you're ready or not. She saw me holding her phone, and for a split second, her face gave everything away. That micro-expression, the kind you can't fake. Guilt. Panic. Then she slipped on a mask so quickly I almost doubted what I saw. "Why are you on my phone?" she asked, voice calm, too calm. I didn't even answer at first. I just held it up, thumb hovering over the glowing notification. My throat was so dry it hurt to swallow. I wanted to scream, throw the phone, demand answers. Instead, all I managed was, "Who is he?" Her whole body stiffened. Then she did something I'll never forget. She laughed. Not a happy laugh. A defensive, sharp laugh that cut me in half. "You're being paranoid," she said, snatching the phone back like I was the one caught doing something wrong. That's when the anger hit me. Not sadness, not fear. Pure, white-hot anger. It was like something cracked open inside me, and every little doubt I'd been pushing down came flooding to the surface. The late nights, the secretive texts, the girls' trips, that didn't add up. That morning, I learned secret number 3. The lies we ignore in the daylight always come back to haunt us. After she brushed me off with that fake laugh, she went straight into the kitchen like nothing had happened. The smell of coffee started filling the apartment, but it didn't comfort me. It made me sick. I sat on the edge of the bed, my fists clenched so hard my nails dug into my palms. I started replaying the last few months in my head, and suddenly, all the puzzle pieces I had ignored began locking together. The nights she said she was too tired, but stayed glued to her phone. The weekends she'd insist on needing alone time and disappear for hours. The lingerie I found stuffed at the bottom of the laundry basket, tags still on, that I never once saw her wear for me. Every single detail I had brushed off as stress or coincidence now stood in front of me like a giant flashing sign. She was cheating. The anger in me started boiling into something else, grief. Not the kind you feel at a funeral, but the kind you feel when you realize the life you thought you were building wasn't real. That's when secret number 4 hit me. Mornings have a brutal way of showing you the reality you're too afraid to admit at night. I couldn't sit still anymore. I stormed into the kitchen, heart pounding, words spilling out before I could even think. "Stop lying to me. Who is he?" She froze mid-pour, coffee spilling over the edge of the mug. Her back was to me, but I saw her shoulders rise, tense. like she was bracing for impact. When she turned around, her face wasn't scared, it was annoyed. That stung worse than anything. Like I was an inconvenience, not a husband in pain. "You're overreacting," she said flatly, setting the mug down a little too hard. And that's when I lost it. Years of trust, love, plans for the future. They all came crashing out of me in one messy, desperate rant. My voice cracked. My hands shook. I told her I knew, that I wasn't stupid, that she didn't have to humiliate me by pretending anymore. Instead of denying it, instead of reassuring me, she just stared at me like she didn't recognize me. That silence, it cut deeper than any confession could have. Secret number 5 became painfully clear. Silence is its own kind of betrayal. After I exploded, I expected her to yell back, to fight, to deny until the walls came down. But she didn't. She just walked past me, picked up her bag, took a sip of that coffee like we hadn't just torn our marriage wide open. And that's when the anger drained out of me, fast and brutal, leaving nothing but a hollow ache in its place. My legs actually gave out. I slid down the kitchen wall and sat on the floor like some broken kid. I felt everything at once: betrayal, humiliation, disbelief. My hands shook so badly I couldn't even hold the water glass I grabbed. My chest tightened, and for a split second, I thought I might be having a heart attack. But no, it was just grief taking physical form. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream until the neighbors called the cops. But instead, I just sat there whispering, "Why? Why would you do this to me?" She never answered. Not then. Not with words. Just with that cold, practiced silence that told me everything I needed to know. Secret number 6. Sometimes the loudest moment of your life is the one where you hear nothing at all. Eventually, she did speak. Not out of guilt, not out of compassion, just because the silence got too heavy for even her to carry. She set the mug down, leaned against the counter, and said, almost casually, "It's not what you think." I laughed. I actually laughed, bitter and broken, because what else could it be? The message was burned into my brain. Last night was amazing. Can't wait for the next time. So I pressed her. I begged. If it's not what I think, then explain it. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm crazy. Please. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "I needed more than what you were giving me." That was it. No apology, no regret, just a flat statement that made me feel like the air had been sucked out of the room. In that moment, I wasn't her husband. I wasn't even a person. I was a failure she'd already replaced. Secret number 7. The words that shatter you the most aren't shouted in anger. They're spoken in cold, quiet honesty. When she said those words, "I needed more than what you were giving me," I swear time slowed down. My first instinct was to fight for us, to prove her wrong, to beg her to remember the years we'd spent building a life together. But the other half of me wanted to grab my keys, walk out the door, and never look back. Instead, I froze. Just stuck. I couldn't move, couldn't think. My hands were shaking so badly, I gripped the edge of the counter just to steady myself. My reflection in the microwave door looked like a stranger. Hollow eyes, slack jaw, skin pale like I'd just seen a ghost. She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. She just scrolled her phone like we weren't standing in the ruins of our marriage. That hurt worse than the cheating itself, the indifference. Secret number 8. Betrayal doesn't always push you into action. Sometimes it paralyzes you, leaves you standing still in a life that's already burned to ash. I don't know how long I stood there, paralyzed. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe an hour, it all blurred. But at some point, something inside me snapped. If she wasn't going to respect me enough to even try to explain, then I had to respect myself enough to move. I grabbed my jacket and my wallet. No plan, no destination. Just the primal urge to get out of that house before I suffocated. As I headed for the door, she didn't chase me, didn't ask where I was going. She just muttered, "You'll be back." That broke me more than the text message did. The arrogance, the certainty that I was too weak to leave her. I stepped outside into the sharp morning air, and for the first time in hours, I could actually breathe. The sun was blinding, the street too bright, too alive for how dead I felt inside. But at least I was out. At least I was moving. Secret number 9. Sometimes the first step toward healing is just getting the hell out. even if it's only to breathe again. I walked. No destination, no purpose, just moving my legs like maybe the sidewalk would give me answers. I passed the park where we used to take Sunday walks, the coffee shop where she once surprised me with birthday cupcakes. Every corner of the city was haunted by us. I thought about going to a friend's place, but the shame was too heavy. How do you even start that conversation? Hey man, my wife prefers someone else now. My pride wouldn't let me, so I ended up at my office. On a Saturday morning, I sat at my desk staring at spreadsheets, pretending to work, but my brain was fried. The betrayal sat in my chest like a weight I couldn't shift. When my coworker came in early and saw me there, he raised an eyebrow. "Rough night?" he asked. I just forced a laugh and said, "Something like that." I couldn't even bring myself to say the truth out loud yet. Secret number 10. When your world shatters, you'll look for safety in the most ordinary places, even if they can't actually protect you. By mid-morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I ended up in the break room, staring at the coffee machine like it might offer some clarity. My coworker, Jeff, walked in, still half asleep. I just blurted it out. "She's been cheating on me." He froze, then muttered something like, "Jesus, I'm sorry, man." And that was it. No advice, no judgment, just acknowledgement. It was the first time anyone knew, and in a weird way, it felt like a relief. Like admitting it out loud pulled some of the poison out of my veins. That's when secret number 11 hit me. Speaking the truth, even to someone who can't fix it, begins the process of fixing yourself. It doesn't solve everything, but it cracks open a window for air you didn't know you needed. I sat there with my coffee, trembling, thinking about the next steps. Divorce? Counseling? Walk away entirely? I didn't know yet. But for the first time that morning, I felt a sliver of control. After admitting it to Jeff, I realized I couldn't stay in limbo forever. I went home that evening, not to beg, not to fight, but to set boundaries. I packed a small bag, left a note on the kitchen counter. "I need time to think. Don't contact me until I reach a decision." Walking out, I felt a strange mix of fear and empowerment. Fear, because my life as I knew it was collapsing. Empowerment, because for the first time in months, I was putting myself first. I spent the next few mornings establishing small habits to reclaim my life. Cold showers, journaling, running, meditation, simple things, but each one reminded me that even after betrayal, you can rebuild the pieces that are still yours. Secret 12, maybe the most important of all, mornings are a chance to restart every single day. You can let the past consume you, or you can use it as fuel to become stronger. As days turned into weeks, I started noticing small changes in myself. I wasn't waking up in shock anymore. The mornings were still heavy, but instead of dread, I began to feel clarity. I journaled every morning, listing the things I could control, the things I wanted to achieve, the habits I wanted to build. I still felt sadness, of course, grief for the marriage I thought I had, anger at the betrayal, but it no longer ruled me. Each morning, I practiced gratitude for the small wins, a quiet cup of coffee, a solid run, a focused hour at work. Those moments, trivial as they seemed, became anchors. Secret 13. Emotional wounds don't vanish overnight, but consistent morning rituals can slowly restore your sense of self. They're a way to reclaim power when life tries to steal it from you. By this point, I realized that infidelity doesn't just hurt, it teaches. If you survive it, you learn what matters most and who you truly are beneath the chaos. After a month of reflection, journaling, and rebuilding small habits, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't go back to the same marriage, pretending the betrayal never happened. But I also didn't want my life defined solely by her actions. I met her one last time, not to argue, not to beg, just to speak clearly. I told her I was leaving the marriage, not out of spite, but because I needed to honor myself. I needed to wake up each morning without the weight of lies pressing down. Walking away was surreal. Relief mixed with grief, empowerment with guilt, sadness with hope. But even in that chaos, I felt alive again. I had reclaimed the mornings for myself, and in doing so, reclaimed my life. Secret 14. The hardest decisions often lead to the most powerful transformations. Leaving wasn't easy, but staying would have cost me everything that made me who I am. It's been almost a year since that morning when everything fell apart. I still wake up early, but now it's different. The sun no longer feels like a spotlight on betrayal. It's a reminder of what I've survived and what I can build. Looking back, I realized the morning secrets weren't just about her cheating. They were about life, about self-respect, and about habits that shape who you are. Mornings showed me the truth, forced me to face pain, and gave me the space to act with intention. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Pay attention to the small signs. They're often louder than you think. Speak the truth, even when it hurts. Silence only deepens the wound. Reclaim your mornings. Small rituals, exercise, journaling, meditation can rebuild your foundation. Set boundaries and protect your energy. Betrayal doesn't just hurt. It drains the parts of you that matter most. Decide with clarity, not impulse. Leaving or staying is a choice only you can make. Life doesn't stop for heartbreak. But if you harness the mornings, the early hours, you can start shaping a life that's stronger, wiser, and unapologetically yours. And that's the final secret. The morning doesn't just reveal your life. It gives you the chance to rewrite it.